So in this video, I'm going to show you how to maintain a starter. This isn't going to show you how to make a starter. I will link my quick tutorial on how to make your own starter in case you're just getting started. Sorry for the pun. So now you've got an active, happy starter and you're wondering how to maintain it for the long term, right? So that's what this video is going to show you. First, I'm going to show you how I feed it every night, and then I'll go through a couple little tips. So first step, so I've got my starter. I let it ferment for 24 hours and then I feed it again. So it's crucial that you have a scale for accurate culture, cultivation, if you will. Just because the volume of your starter changes by the minute, right? So think about all of those bubbles inside. And so at one point in time in the day, when it's super high, 1 cup of starter is going to be very airy. But later in the day, when it's fallen completely, that same cup of starter is going to be very dense and probably weigh about twice as much. So it's very important that you do use a scale if you're serious about maintaining a consistent starter. So I like to go back and forth between 2 containers. I just find it easier, and but you do you. So I take my next container, I put it on my scale. This is a stiff Levain, so I'm going to do a 1-to-1 ratio of flour to water, just to maintain my starter every night. If I'm not going to use it, if I'm not trying to bulk it up or whatever, I do 100 grams of water, 100 grams of flour, and then 10 grams of my starter. Of course, you can adjust that up if you need more for your recipe or whatever. But I'm just going to start with my water. So again, 100 grams. And then I like to go with my starter. The reason I like the same container is because I'm lazy bum and I like to reuse the top. So there's that. And then come on, little guy. And then I'm going to do 10 grams of my starter. Bam! Can't handle that perfection. And so then the rest of this starter is waste. You can throw it out, or you can use it in any recipe that calls for sourdough discard. So I made a pizza dough with it, so I'll link that up there, which is fabulous and a great way to use this starter at least sometimes. And then we're going to add our flour. This is just AP flour. I like to maintain a neutral starter. So 100 grams, equal parts, remember. And then we'll just stir it up. And then we'll just put our top on it. Again, you can do this in any container. Super not important that it's pretty. And then close it up. So let's chit chat about a few other things, right, for maintaining your starter. Super important. You do want to keep it covered. You don't want the starter to dry out on the top. It is crucial. I have tried it lots of different ways, some by accident, but definitely keep it covered. Let me break down the feeding schedule for you, okay? This has caused a lot of confusion, lots of questions for me. So, if you're leaving your starter at room temperature, you need to feed it every 24 hours. So every single day around the same time, you will swap back and forth between the 2 containers, just like I just did, and it will rise overnight and then it will fall and you will repeat. It's very active at room temperature, and by room temperature I really mean anything between 60 and 75 degrees. So if you are not going to use your Levain that frequently, but you do want her to be happy, we all want them to be happy, right? Then you can put her in the refrigerator. In the refrigerator, I feed my Levain every 2 weeks, okay? I know that is a little less than other people say, but follow me here. When I am going to feed her, I take her out of the refrigerator that morning and I let her sit at room temperature for at least 8 hours. Let her hang out, come to room temperature, she's chilling, she's getting happy, the yeast are waking back up, they're preparing to party. Then, that night, I will feed her, just like we just did, and then I'll let her sit overnight. And usually, if your starter is happy and bubbly, then she'll be fine. And she'll be happy and excited to be there, she'll throw a huge party, and you'll see a voluminous starter. If she's not super stoked, or maybe you left her in there like 3 weeks, oops, we've been there, then just repeat the same thing the next night. So feed her 2 nights in a row. Nothing's bad's gonna happen, just give her a little extra love, and then pop her back in the refrigerator the next day. I don't necessarily recommend leaving her in the freezer. You can, but I feel like if you want to push boundaries, then go ahead and feed her every 3 weeks when you're in the fridge and feed her 2 nights in a row. It's safer, it's better for her. The freezer is V-cold. The important thing is that no matter where you're storing your Levain, she needs to rise at room temperature, okay? I'm gonna say it again. She needs to rise at room temperature. Do not feed her, like, I'm not gonna take this and put this in the refrigerator and expect my yeast to be happy. They're not happy, okay? They need time. They need, you know, they're lethargic creatures, right? They need time to mingle with their new food and eat and be merry. You know, give them that time, okay? So, we're gonna let her rise at room temperature, okay? If you find that your room is too hot in the summer and you can't, you know, control that, you can put her in like an ice bath or something for a couple hours, like bring her temperature down, and then let her rise overnight so it's a little bit more controlled. I've never had to do that, I just kind of adjust when I feed her. Which brings me to my next point. What do I do when I need to use this? Okay, so I've gotten lots of questions about this. Lots of confusion. Let me make it simple. So one day, you just need to watch your Levain. You need to see, mark down what time you fed her, and then see when she hits that double mark. That is how long it takes your Levain, yours, not mine, to double in your environment. This is crucial, okay? So maybe it takes 10 hours for your Levain to double. That's cool, that's her time. Don't mess with it. But you now know this, and say tomorrow, I'm like, oof, tomorrow I wanna make bread at 9 a.m. I'm gonna mix my dough at 9. So you want your Levain to be ready to go at 9 a.m. So then you just like, back it up, and you see what time you need to feed her. So now you know your Levain, it takes 10 hours to rise, and you want to make your dough at 9 a.m. So you're going to feed her at 11 p.m. Simple, it's that simple. So feed your baby at 11 p.m. and she's going to be super stoked and ready to go at 9 a.m. And that is the long and short of it, and that's all you need to know. So that pretty much covers how to maintain your starter. And you know, your feeding schedule and what to do if you want to make bread with it the next day, and also if you're wherever you're keeping it. If you like this video and you want to see more, don't miss out. Go ahead and hit subscribe below, and don't forget to turn on the little bell thing.